Question everything. For the truth shall not be televised, and that's for sure. So with that, let's just be real here. Crime is crime. There's no other way to put it. Nobody want to be a victim of any type of violent crimes from nowhere whatsoever. And nobody want to be really committing crime. That's not something that you set out to do when you're growing up as a child, going to school and learning on the level of what you're going to possibly end up trying to be or be in the sense of career, job, business, and so on. You never sit there and hear a child say, when you say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? You hear them in the background raising their hands in school, in kindergarten, first grade, and so on, talking about, when I grow up, I want to be a pimp. I want to be a drug dealer. I want to be the guy down there robbing the local grocery store. You don't never hear that. You always hear fireman, cop, and all sorts of nurses and different stuff, or artists. You hear stuff like that. So you don't ever hear children say that. So what happens, when it comes to these children that grow up and become adults and commit crime? A lot of times it's trauma, and most of the time it's poverty. Especially for the Aboriginal Negroes of America. You dealing with poverty and ghettos and slums and hood all the time. And you don't have the real ability to have the resources that you should need in your community based off of us being a target market for hate in America. And if you don't think so, then just look up the Federal Census for Ethnic Hate in America, and we're going to be at the top, number one on the list as a people, not to mention our history, not to mention the fact that we haven't been liberated, not to mention the fact that the people that came to infringe upon us, their inheritors are still controlling the system that we are still under being crushed by. So you can understand why we're in the position we're in. But with that, some do survival work, some do crime. And what do you mean by that? Well, if you listen to Jessica Ramos out there, the senator out there in New York, when she was speaking on the immigrants in America that was coming and who was doing what we would consider law breaking, she considered it to be survival work, from selling drugs, human trafficking, to you name it, prostitution. She said that was survival work because they was trying to survive. So if you take those certain words and you utilize it for the Aboriginal Negroes of America in our communities being ghettos, slums, and hoods, then you can understand why our people were selling drugs. Not to mention, if you're hated by a group of people that control the narrative on getting jobs or careers or bank loans, and they're the dominant people that control it, the ones that openly manipulate the system to hate you as the individual nation that they're going to choose to hate, then you can imagine that nation that controls the jobs, careers, and businesses and banks, loans, and so on are the same ones that wouldn't give you an opportunity on an equal level or equal playing field as their people. Why? Because they're the ones who created hate against you. Why would they, after that, uplift you without justice coming to make them do so? And since justice haven't came to make them do so because they control the law departments, they only have to hire bare minimum of our people, only have to give grants, loans, and benefits to the bare minimum of our people when it comes to empowering you, if you understand what I'm saying. So with that, the majority of our people are out there doing survival work, trying to survive in ghetto slums and hoods by selling drugs, some of them doing all sorts of levels of crime. That's what they would call it, even though it's survival work, from what Jessica Ramos say, the senator out there in New York. So with that, when it comes to anyone losing their loved ones unlawfully or any crime being done to your loved ones, most of the time you want justice. Just like we want justice for the crimes against humanity done to our bloodline based off of the Holocausts that have happened to us here in America, justice. And because you want justice for the crimes that's done to you and your family, you don't want the individual who committed that crime to get away. That's just the reality to it. Why? Because you want justice. So with that stated, even if the police are the ones committing the crime, wouldn't you want justice? If the police committed the crime, of course, right? Because crime is crime. Justice is justice, right? So if you are the one who's supposed to uphold the law, push the law, and got the trust of the people that you are honoring the law in the form of being upright towards pushing the law in the correct manner of what it means to bring justice to the people, then if you break the law, don't you break the trust of the people? And if you break the trust of the people and you break the law and you're supposed to be the one who's upholding the law, wouldn't you think that individual should be prosecuted to the fullest of the law, even more in depth than the actual regular criminal that broke the law, even if they broke the same laws? And you say, well, why you say that? Well, think about it. If I'm the one upholding the law, and I got your trust that I'm supposed to uphold the law, and I'm upright to uphold the law because I'm just, and I'm the one who's breaking the law behind the scenes, and I get busted, don't you think I should be held accountable greater than the actual person who's not upholding the law? Due to the fact that I'm the one who's supposed to enforce the law, I should be the one being punished worse than the person that just break the law, right? Well, if that's true, then giving the police immunity to just do as they please, wouldn't that be a danger not just to the Aboriginal Negroes, but also to white folks and everybody that's a citizen of America? If the police have immunity to break the law when they choose to, how would that work if they are the ones who are supposed to uphold the law, the ones who are supposed to be trusted to bring justice to our communities based off of them being upright and pushing the law? They're the ones who are the ones that's supposed to chase down the criminals to put them in prison. But if they are the ones breaking the law, how do we differentiate if the same people that's supposed to protect you from criminals and crime are the ones committing the crime and being a criminal? Don't we supposed to put a strong arm down on them and crush them to the fullest of the law based off of them having the trust of the people and being deputized to be the ones who push the law? Well, from what they're saying right now, that they're actually willing to give them immunity from being held accountable for the wrongs that they commit or the crimes that they may commit against you and I as the citizens. And I don't think that's the right way to go when you're the one who's supposed to uphold the law. I think you're supposed to be the one who be actually subjected to the law to the fullest if you break the law, based off of you being the one supposed to uphold the law. You are the one got the people's trust and been deputized to push the law. And if you ain't going to uphold the law and you become the criminal, then you should be held accountable greater than any other citizen that falls under the jurisdiction of being a criminal. Wouldn't you think? Well, hey, Trump said he's willing to give them immunity for doing crime. He didn't say it in that fashion, so let me correct myself, but he did say he's willing to give them immunity. And if you're willing to give them immunity, what are he really talking about? These are the things we need to know about, because police that's supposed to uphold the law should never, ever have immunity to break the law. And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.